Hi students, I'm Kashish and I hope you all are doing good. Students, I know this is a very difficult time for all of us, but it's not only you or me who is facing this problem, but people all around the world are into this, and we can just hope for the situation to get better soon. But apart from all this thing, I know you all miss going out, miss meeting your friends, and miss going to school and having that fun between the lectures. But let's not let this situation create any hurdle into our learning process. And we should feel ourselves lucky enough that we have such facilities and technologies where we can just sit at our home and learn from the comfort of our home. So today we are going to begin with the first poem of your English literature, that is In the Bazaars of Hyderabad, written by Sarojini Naidu. Before beginning with the poem, let me give you some details about the poetess Sarojini Naidu. So Sarojini Naidu was a poet and an Indian political leader who was born on February 13, 1879 in Hyderabad, India. At a young age, she wrote poetry and plays, a hobby she kept throughout her life. She later went on to study in England, and in the year 1916, she met Mahatma Gandhi, which sparked her interest in the fight for India's freedom. So yes, she was a freedom fighter and a great patriot. In the year 1925, she was elected as the first female president of Indian National Congress. Apart from that, after India's independence from England, Naidu became the first women governor of Uttar Pradesh. She is also known as the Nightingale of India. She was a very sensitive poet, and major themes of her poet revolved around the beauty of the simple joys and sorrows of life. Her poetry included children's poems, nature poems, poems on love and death, etc. In the year 1905, her first collection of poems named The Golden Threshold was published. Apart from that, even after so many years, her poem In the Bazaars of Hyderabad is celebrated today as one and is recognized as one of her most famous work, and people all over the world love this work. Sarojini Naidu died due to a cardiac arrest on March 2, 1949 in Lucknow. So, about the poem In the Bazaars of Hyderabad, let me tell you that this poem In the Bazaars of Hyderabad is a brilliant piece of writing by the Indian women poet Sarojini Naidu. And this poem, particularly this poem, was written as a part of the Swadeshi movement. During that freedom movement, the Indians decided to boycott European merchandise and use the Indian products instead. So during that period, Sarojini Naidu came up with this brilliant piece of work. And through this poem, she wanted to convey the message that India is rich in tradition and they don't need the foreign products. So here in this poem, she give a picture of a bazaar, particularly a bazaar in Hyderabad, where the Indian traditional products are being sold by the people of India. This poem is in the form of question and answers. The poet asks the question and the merchants answer them. Through this technique, she makes the picture of the bazaar visible to us, and when you read this, you can actually feel the elements of bazaar, or you can feel that you are actually in bazaar. This poem contains 5 stanzas of 6 lines each. It follows a unique rhyme scheme, but the general rhyme scheme followed throughout the poem is A, B, C, B, C, B. So let's start with the poem stanza by stanza. The first stanza is: What do you sell, O ye merchants? Richly your wares are displayed, turbans of crimson and silver, tunics of purple brocade, mirrors with panels of amber, daggers with handles of jade. So, the poem begins with the poet's question to the merchants about what they were selling. And the poet sees that the goods are displayed nicely to attract the buyers. See, we also visit market and we see that how the sellers arranges or like displays the goods so that the buyers can get attracted and they can come and actually buy the product and the goods. So similarly, she sees that the goods are displayed nicely so that the buyers can actually come. The merchants reply that like when the poet asks the question, what are you selling, or what they were selling. So to answer the question, the merchant replied that they are selling crimson and silver colored turban. Now what is crimson? Crimson is actually a deep red color. You can see an image on your screen as well. So the merchants reply that they are selling the crimson and silver colored turban along with purple brocade tunics, mirrors with amber frame. Now you can also see the image of the mirror with an amber frame all on the sides, and daggers with the handles made of jade. Now you can also see the image of a dagger. The daggers are mostly carried by kings. So the merchants reply that they are selling the brocade tunics, the mirror with amber frame, and the dagger with handles made of jade. Now what is jade? Jade is a green stone. Okay, and in the first line we see that what do you sell, O ye merchant? So ye here refers to you, and ye is an old English word for the word you. So in this line, Sarojini Naidu and you can see the poet is questioning the merchants about what they are selling. So in the very first stanza, it becomes quite clear that through this poem, the poet is actually trying to tell the readers about the varied and the richness of the Indian culture and the Indian bazaars. So here is the second stanza of our poem. What do you weigh, O ye vendors? Saffron and lentil and rice. What do you grind, O ye maidens? Sandalwood, henna and spice. What do you call, O ye peddlers? Jasmine and ivory dyes. So in this stanza it shows that next the poet goes to the vendors, the maidens and the peddlers. Peddlers are salesmen. So the poet goes to the vendors and asks them what they were weighing on the scales. So the vendors reply that they are weighing saffron, pulses and rice. Now what is saffron? Saffron is actually a very precious ingredient used in most of the Indian households, particularly for making sweet dishes. So the vendors reply that they are weighing saffron, pulses and rice. Then the poet asks the maiden girls what they are grinding. Now maidens are actually a young girl, or you can say an unmarried girl. So she asks the maidens what they are grinding, and to which the maidens reply that they are grinding saffron, they are grinding sandalwood, henna and spices. Now, what is saffron? Sandalwood. Sandalwood is again like a fragrant timbers and oil which is used by the for fragrance. So the maidens reply that they are grinding sandalwood. Henna. Henna is a dye used for coloring, and the spices. As we all know that India is famous for spices all over the world. So here when the poet asks the maiden what they are grinding, so the maiden replies that they are grinding sandalwood, henna and spices. And then the poet meets the salesmen and asks them what they are selling or what they are calling. Calling is actually what they are selling, and through how they are calling the people to buy their goods. So she goes to the peddlers and asks them what they are calling as the trade cry, and then they say that they are selling chessmen and dice made from ivory for the game of chess. So the peddlers reply that they are selling chessmen and ivory dice. Ivory dice that is made up of ivory, a precious substance, or you can say a white part of the tusks of elephant. So they are sending the chessmen and the ivory dice which are made up of ivory for a chess game. So in this stanza the poet discusses about the goods that are sold by the vendors, maidens and peddlers in the bazaars of Hyderabad. So here is the third stanza. What do you make, O ye goldsmiths? Bracelets and anklet and ring, bells for the feet of blue pigeons, frail as a dragonfly's wing, girdles of gold for dancers, scabbards of gold for the kings. So in this stanza we can see that the poet now goes up to meet the goldsmiths and asks them what they are making. Now we all know goldsmith, right? Goldsmiths are actually the people who deal, or a person who deal with gold jewelry in particular, or gold items, or sell gold. So in this stanza we can see that the poet meets goldsmiths and asks them what they are making, and they reply that they are making ornaments for wrist and ankles and also rings. Now bracelet is something or any kind of jewelry that is worn in the wrist or by the women, and it also includes bracelet. And anklet is something that is worn in feet by the women, and a ring. So they reply that they are making bracelet, anklet and ring, and apart from that they continue saying that they are making bells for the feet of blue pigeons, and they describe that the bells are as weak and delicate as the wing of a dragonfly, or you can say the bells are very thin and of a very light weight, and they compare the bells to wings of a dragonfly, and they the poet here tried to make a comparison of the weight of a bell to a wings of the dragonfly, which shows that the bells are of very light weight and are very delicate. The goldsmiths also mentioned that they are also making the bells of gold for the dancers, or you can say golden girdles that are worn by the dancers on their waist, and they are also making daggers that are made up of gold for the kings. So this lines depicts how rich the Indians are, and how the markets of India are rich in the products. Like they have gold markets and they sell precious and costly items. So in this stanza the poet reflects or try to show us the richness of India.